We've been lied to about what forgiveness actually means, y'all. People spend their lives telling you, you just need to forgive, but almost nobody ever explains what the hell that actually means. And because of that, I think we turned forgiveness into one of the most misunderstood ideas in Christianity. Because if you're anything like me, when somebody told you to forgive, this is what I heard. Just let them get away with it. Bro, what? Think about that. Somebody lies to you, betrays you, breaks your trust, walks out on you, turns your whole world upside down, and somehow you become the bad guy because you ain't over it yet? Man, that's never made sense to me. That's like somebody setting your house on fire and then people get mad at you because you still smell like smoke. Like, yeah, my bad, bro. Let me just Febreze my trauma real quick. Look, it don't work like that. And here's why I wanted to make this video, because before this video's over, I want to show you how to move on even if they never apologize. Because if you're waiting on that apology, you might be waiting the rest of your life. And if that's where your healing starts, you're giving somebody else way too much control over your future. Now, I didn't always believe that. I used to hear people talk about forgiveness and immediately get irritated because I'm sitting here thinking like, wait, they're the one who lied. They're the one that betrayed me. They're the one that walked away. They're the one that caused all of this. So why am I the one that's got to do the work? Seriously, bro, how is that fair? If anybody should have apologized, it should have been them. If anybody should be losing sleep right now, it should have been them. If anybody should be replaying conversations at 2 o'clock in the morning, it should have been them. Instead, they're over at Costco trying to decide if Charmin's worth the extra $3, and I'm in the shower giving a TED talk to somebody that ain't even in the same room as me. Come on, man. Tell me y'all ain't done that before. You done replayed that conversation so many times, you started writing alternate endings. Ooh, man, I should have said this. Nah, hold on, run that back. This would have got them. Meanwhile, they don't hear none of it. They out there living their life, they eating dinner, they're watching Netflix, and you over here directing the director's cut of an argument that's been over for 3 years. And you know what's crazy? I thought I was still fighting them, but I wasn't. I was fighting the same memory over and over and over again. And every single time I replayed it, guess who got hurt all over again? Me. Not them, me. Every single time. They hurt me once, but every time I replayed it, I was helping them. I was doing the damage for them, and I didn't even realize I was doing it. Because in my mind, I wasn't holding on to the pain, I was holding on to justice. And there's a difference. Or, okay, at least I thought there was. Because I kept telling myself, I can't forgive them because they don't deserve it. And look, maybe they didn't. Maybe they still don't. But here's a question that started messing with me real bad. What if I was asking the wrong question? Because I spent years asking, why should they be forgiven? But the better question is, why am I still letting what they did decide who I'm becoming? See, I finally figured out why I hated the idea of forgiveness so much. Because I thought forgiveness was for them. That was my problem. Because every time somebody said, you need to forgive, my brain immediately went to, they don't deserve it. They ain't earned that. They should have to pay for what they did. And maybe they should, maybe they never will. But here's what finally hit me. Forgiveness ain't about them at all. It's about you. That's it. That's the whole thing. Because the second I stopped making forgiveness about what they deserved, I started asking a completely different question. What do I deserve? Do I deserve to spend the next 5 years angry? Do I deserve to let one person's decision ruin every relationship after them? Do I deserve to wake up tomorrow still carrying something that happened years ago? Nah, bro, I don't, and neither do you. Because here's the truth, man. They already took enough. They took your trust. Maybe they took your confidence. Maybe they took years of your life. Maybe they took your peace for a while. They don't get tomorrow too. That was the line that changed everything for me. They don't get tomorrow too, because tomorrow belongs to me, not them. And I finally realized I got two choices here. I can spend the rest of my life trying to collect a debt from somebody who may never pay it, or I can stop letting what they owe me keep me broke. Think about that. Some people are just emotionally bankrupt, trying to collect from people who ain't got nothing to give. No apology, no accountability, no closure, nothing. So you're standing outside an empty bank, beating on the door, waiting for somebody to give you something they don't even have. Bro, how long are you gonna stand there? Because eventually you've got to walk away. Not because they're right, not because they won, but because you got a life to live, man. And you can't live it standing outside that bank forever. Now, I know what some of y'all are thinking. All right, James, yeah, okay, this all sounds good, but how do you actually do that? Because you don't just wake up one morning like, yep, I guess I'll forgive them. Man, if it was that easy, this would have been a 3-minute video. But here's what I had to learn. Forgiveness isn't a feeling, It's a decision. And those are two different things, because there were days I decided to forgive and I was still mad. And there were days I'd pray about it and I was still hurt. There were days I thought I already dealt with this. Then something would remind me of them and all that anger would come rushing back. And at first I thought that means I failed. Like, well, I guess I didn't really forgive them. But that's not true, because forgiveness isn't a switch. It's more like going to the gym. Y'all don't go one time and then walk out looking like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Y'all, it don't work like that, right? You keep showing up, you keep making the decision over and over again. And it's not because yesterday's decision didn't count, but because healing takes time. And I think that's something people don't tell you enough. You can forgive somebody today and still have to forgive them again Tuesday when that memory hits you out of nowhere. That doesn't mean you're back at square one. It just means that y'all are human, bro. Because healing ain't always a straight line. Some days you're doing great. Some days something just catches you off guard. And that doesn't mean God failed. That doesn't mean forgiveness failed. It just means you're still healing. And there ain't nothing wrong with that. Just don't confuse feeling the pain again with choosing to live there again. Those things are different, right? One just happened to you. The other one is a choice. And before I end this, I just want to make one thing really clear here. Forgiveness does not mean what they did was okay. It wasn't okay. It still isn't okay. Forgiveness doesn't erase consequences. Forgiveness doesn't erase wisdom. And forgiveness sure as hell doesn't mean you have to trust somebody who kept proving they can't be trusted. Those are different conversations here. But here's what I know. If you keep waiting for somebody else to finally give you peace, you're going to be waiting forever. Some people are never going to apologize. Some people are never going to understand how bad they hurt you. Some people are never going to become the person you needed them to be. That is just reality. So eventually you've got to make a decision. Am I going to spend the rest of my life letting what happened to me keep happening inside of me? Or am I finally going to let go? Not for them, for me. Because they already took enough. They don't get to have tomorrow too. And I think that's what Jesus was trying to protect us from. Not just sin, but bitterness. Because bitterness has a way of changing y'all. It really does, man. It'll make you suspicious of people who have never hurt you. It'll make you push away the love you've been praying for. It'll make you build walls so high that even the good people can't get in. That's not freedom, that's prison. You think you building a fortress, but you really building yourself into a prison. So yeah, maybe they really did set your house on fire. Maybe the smoke was real, maybe the damage was real, and I'm not pretending that it wasn't. But at some point, you gotta stop standing in the ashes. Not because that fire didn't happen, but because there's still a life to build. And they don't get to decide whether you build it. You do. So if you've been carrying that anger, that bitterness, that resentment for months, maybe years, I hope today is the day you finally put all that down. Not because they earned it, but because you deserve to stop carrying it. And if this did help you, do me a favor. Just drop a comment below and tell me what part hit you the hardest. Because I got a feeling there's a whole lot of people carrying the exact same thing, and they need to know that they're not carrying this alone anymore. So, all right, man, look, I'm done yapping. I will see you guys in the next one. I love y'all.